Hi there, welcome to my channel. Today I'm out here on my back deck where I'm going to be giving it a much needed refresh. It's a beautiful May day. The days are definitely staying light out much longer, and each day is getting warmer and warmer. We find ourselves out here on the back deck most of the time when it's nice out during the summer. We do have a really nice balcony on the front side of our house. It has a beautiful view of the lake across the street, and then of course sunsets at night because it faces full west. But because it faces west and then gets that southern exposure also, in the summer it becomes too hot to be out there. So it's a great place for mornings and late evenings, but not so much during the day. Whereas out here, we get a little more shade, a little more privacy, and it's just kind of where we find ourselves. Our kids kind of play back here in the grass, and we have a nice view of whatever they're up to. So this is our view from the back deck. This is our forest area, as we call it, and then this is kind of our hillside garden. We're doing a lot of work on it this spring and into the summer, removing some trees that have been struggling for a few seasons, and just getting things planted. But for the most part, it's a really pretty view. And then it wraps around to where I have my raised garden over on the side of the house, and then our pool will go over there. I've said this before, but this up here is an old abandoned train track, and I believe it's actually going to someday become a walking path. So we do get a few people kind of walking back and forth up there sometimes, but for the most part, it's pretty private. All right, so I'm going to give you a quick look at what our back deck currently looks like. I resisted the urge to kind of straighten this up. Normally by May, I've done a little bit more straightening, cleaning up, but it's just been a really busy season and we haven't quite gotten around to it. Okay, so we come out our very clean back door. And here is our layout. We've got a little seating area over here. We have our grill. We have a random snow shovel, pillows kind of strewn about. We have our rug that's a little bit wind blown down here. Here's our table area over here, and you can see my table has definitely seen better days. When I ordered this table off of, I think it was Wayfair, the description said that, you know, you can weatherproof it or you can let it go to this kind of natural gray tone. Last year I went ahead and stained it, which I didn't put any sort of top coat on. I just stained it, and you can see after the winter the stain is definitely peeling. So I'll have to address that, sand it up, stain it up a little bit. Beyond the table, you can see I have my pots all emptied out. Like I said on my front porch video, I'm refreshing all of my pots, giving them all new soil this year, and making sure there's no junk in the bottoms. And also, I'll be running my drip lines up through the bottom of the pots so that there's no drip line just, you know, sticking out on the side. It'll be a little more hidden. But since I use these kind of lightweight resin containers, which are very handy when you have to move them around, but they're empty, so the wind is definitely blowing them all over the place. Okay, we have another container right down here. Same thing. Stairs. And then over here we have our little seating area, just kind of cushions strewn about. This is the layout that definitely works the best for us. We've experimented before with putting our table here and then kind of making a cozy little seating area there, but this is just what tends to work for us. We've also experimented with adding a little table here, and it just feels a little too congested. We do like it to feel pretty open. This seating area came about because this area, as you can see, is shaded. We noticed last summer when it was really hot, we would just pull chairs from our table over here. So I decided I'm just going to make a little mini seating area. I'm not doing anything too major. I won't be spending thousands of dollars buying new furniture or anything like that. I'm just kind of sprucing things up, getting everything cleaned, getting it feeling a little more lively. Right now everything is looking very weathered, very dull, very dirty. So just kind of interjecting a little life so that when we walk outside it feels serene and like a little mini oasis out here. All right, I just spent most of the afternoon cleaning. So for my patio cushions, we bought this set from, I think it was like Wayfair many years ago. It's pretty old now, but it was a great deal and it came with a lot of furniture, a lot of coffee tables, ottomans, great storage, and these cushions. And I have had the hardest time finding replacement cushions that fit this style. So I actually went to an at-home store that's about an hour and a half away from here. I measured everything and I found some cushions that were a little bit bigger and I thought, you know, I think I can make them work. I brought them back and it didn't work. So I went all the way back the next day and took them back, and I just ended up getting a bunch of throw pillows and things like that that I could really set on these older cushions and try to stretch one more year out of them. All right, looking much cleaner. So I am going to go ahead and put a few umbrellas out here. It does still get some full sun during the summer, so I'm thinking of, for now, putting one umbrella here in this corner. I already have a stand over there. And then maybe putting another one right here, which this is where I had a pot. So I've kind of been playing around with where those are going to be. So that one's kind of squished. I'm not sure if I like that. We'll just have to see. Since I returned those cushions, I had a little more wiggle room with my budget, so I found this kind of corner wood burning fireplace. So I'm really excited to put that right there. I might have to scooch these away. We don't need to be melting the furniture, but I'm excited to play around with that also. So I'm just going to start setting up our umbrellas and kind of see how they look. I'm using stands so I can move them. All right, it's the next day. This has actually been a very nice, cool, kind of rainy morning. There have been quite a few fishermen out on the lake. It's just been a really nice morning. So for this back deck refresh, obviously I can't get everything done in one day. This is a multi-day project. We are expecting rain later today and all of tomorrow, so I'm not going to be staining my table until that kind of clears up. But for today, I have a few things I want to get done. First of which, I want to show you my new chimenea. You probably saw us put it in. We nestled it in the corner of our deck yesterday, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right because I really like to say chimenea. It's really cute, and I'm excited to have little fires out here. So I'll show you that, and then the other thing I'm doing is running drip up through my empty containers and then planting my containers. So fun. Okay, here is the new chimenea, and I'm so glad that I happened to see this little card of instructions yesterday when I was kind of fiddling with it. It did tell us that we need to fill the inside with either sand or pea gravel, which I went and picked up some more pea gravel this morning, and we need to fill it up just so that there's about 3 to 4 inches from the top of the gravel to the top of this bottom lip. And then according to the instructions, we're supposed to kind of season it by having a few just small fires, 5 to 10 small fires at first. And then, you know, we can build up to building bigger fires. It's not like we can have anything too huge in here, but, you know, bigger than small sticks and things. And of course the smoke is going to come out of the top, and so I might have to kind of fiddle, close the umbrella, and just kind of see. I'm curious to see how hot this gets, because we do have our furniture here on both sides, but everything is adaptable. We can move things around if we need to, but I just think it's so cute. Okay, and then for my containers, again, I use these lightweight kind of resin containers. They're easy to move, which I like, and they seem to work just fine. But I emptied them out this year just to kind of get everything fresh. So what I'm going to do is go in and probably drill a few more drain holes and then run my drip line. Instead of having it attached to kind of the outside of the pot, I'm going to take it, I'll disconnect this soaker hose and just probably add another line of poly and run it right up through the center of the pot, and then I'll fill it with soil. I'm not worrying about my emitters just yet because I couldn't find the drip line with the emitter holes every 6 inches, so I do want to hold out and probably use that this year instead of the soaker hose. So when I was doing my front porch, I was looking for something to put under my containers, kind of like little pot legs, so that I could lift them and that drip line wouldn't be pinched. So someone had a really good suggestion on that video. They said you could fill the trays underneath with gravel, and that way you can put the drip line down into the gravel and it won't pinch. That's a great idea. And then I thought, you know, I'll just get some pot legs. I started looking them up, and the ones I found right off the bat were like $24 for 12, and that's fine. I'm sure you can find some cheaper. But then I saw something staring me right in the face that I see every day. Let me show you. Can you see that? My daughter has these old Jenga pieces that our dog loves to chew up. So I have a bunch of chewed up Jenga pieces that I think are perfect. They're not quite as big as those bricks I used on the front porch, which kind of lift the pots a little too high, and they're a little too, you just notice them a little bit more. So I think these are going to be perfect. I think if I did 3 per pot, it'd lift it just enough to get that drip line right underneath without being too obvious. I actually have several pots that I'm not quite sure where I'm going to place them yet, so I'm still playing around, but I want to get my flowers planted. So what I'm going to do is just the bare minimum here, make sure I have my holes drilled, and then I'm just going to run this solid poly out the top and then out the bottom as well. And with those other pots, I just won't connect this part to anything. I'll just leave it kind of hanging, and that way I have access when I need it. And I can worry about kind of routing the line to the main access line once I figure out where it's going to stay. So for planting my containers, you know, I've heard many times there's kind of this formula for building a nice structure in a container. You want to have a thriller plant that gets a little bit taller, where you would put it kind of in the center or back of your container if it has a, you know, if it's up against a wall or something. And then you have your kind of mounding filler flowers that poof up, they're kind of blousy and just fill up the space. And then you have a spiller or a trailing plant of some kind that trails down and creates a nice kind of cascading effect. So I don't know, I do whatever I want. So sometimes I kind of try to follow that formula. Other times I'm like, let's just do mounding. So it's just whatever you like. I am going to try to do the thriller, filler, spiller method a little bit here. So first and foremost, let's start with our thrillers. So for a thriller, I got the Proven Winners Purple Fountain Grass. It says this gets to be, I think it says what, 30, so it says it gets 30 to 36 inches tall. Definitely will be a nice thriller. And then I got some of these little spiky plants, kind of the same effect, 2 to 3 feet tall. And then moving over to our mounding, kind of trailing. I actually love flowers, plants that are both mounding and kind of cascading. This kind of pretty purple flower, this actually, I had someone stop me on my way out and say, what is that? It is the Proven Winners. Hello, bee. Hello. Hello. We're coexisting. Proven Winners Superbena Lilac Blue. And these, I've seen pictures. I've never grown these myself, but they just are a very vigorous, kind of lovely flower. Hello. So I have some petunias, which I have had horrible luck with petunias in the past. They tend to get stringy, leggy, and just don't look very well. And I promised myself if I ever did petunias again, I would do the Proven Winners Supertunias. So I have 2 of the Proven Winners Supertunia Vista Snowdrift. And the Vista, I believe, kind of creates like a shelf. So it gets really big and it kind of starts blooming on top of itself. And I don't believe any of these petunias from Proven Winners need to be deadheaded. I have over here kind of a deep purple Proven Winners Supertunia Mini Vista Ultramarine. I think the contrast between the dark purple and the lighter purple will be very pretty. And then I have the Proven Winners Supertunia Mini Vista Yellow. And the yellow was kind of a surprise to me because, as you can see, I'm trying to stick with kind of a cool, calm, very serene palette. And I love color. Once I get into the garden center and I see all the beautiful color, I'm so tempted. But I was very disciplined. I stuck with my color palette, all except for this yellow. I just couldn't resist. And my youngest daughter loves yellow and purple. Those are her favorite colors. So I thought she would enjoy watching those grow this year. Another mounding, and all of these petunias, I think I said before, the petunias kind of mound up, but then they also trail as well. Okay, so mounding, I also got this little Dusty Miller. How cute is that? I love Dusty Miller. I think this silvery foliage is going to look really pretty with all of these lovely flowers. Okay, this is one of my favorites. This is Sweet Potato Vine, and I love chartreuse, especially with purple. Okay, and last I had to do the white alyssum. I just think alyssum is so pretty. It's kind of, again, it's a mounding flower, but then it also, once it gets later in the season, it'll start kind of spilling over the sides of the container. right, yesterday I stained my table, and you can see I kind of went with a very kind of rustic look. I did leave some stain that was on there from last year and just kind of stained right over the top of it. I love this table because every year I feel like I can try something different. Again, I can let it go to its natural gray, or I can stain it. And last year I sanded the whole thing off and just did a nice even stain. This year I did kind of this layered look, which I really like. It kind of adds a little bit of interest, a little bit of a rustic look. There's a really odd event that happens in the winter on this deck. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna break the first rule, but there is a cat, a tomcat fight club that happens out here. They tear my rug up. I've never seen them, I've never heard them, but I'll walk out here and just see fluff everywhere. Sometimes it's frozen to the deck. I've been able to identify one of the cats because he's orange and fluffy and really seems to be the loser. I don't know, he's the one who loses the most fur anyway because it's all over. It blows out into my yard. It's hilarious. We don't have a cat, so I'm not sure whose cats these are. But I think what I'm going to do just real quick, because I'm not looking to replace this quite yet, I'm just going to flip it whoosh, so that faces the other way and we don't see the tears as much. Okay, for my container for the table, I wanted something kind of long and low, so I found this nice ceramic container. And then I figure because I've tried planting herbs in the past on the table, I just like the idea of smelling nice herbs as we're sitting down and eating. They haven't done very well. They've gotten too hot and they've dried out. So I figure I need something that can deal with hot, dry conditions. So I just went and picked up a bunch of succulents. These are a few different variety of Echeveria. I believe I'm saying that right, hopefully. So this container, you can see it has 2 drain holes. I need to find some sort of a little tray that can fit under there, but for now, I'm just gonna kind of sacrifice this towel just so I can put it over those holes and not have soil just running out onto the table. So I'm laying down my towel. You could use landscape fabric or anything like that. And then for a potting mix, I'm using this cactus palm citrus potting mix, which has really good drainage. These type of plants don't like to have their feet sitting in waterlogged, soggy soil. They need something that drains very quickly, so this is an ideal potting mix for succulents. Okay, next up, I am going to try to string some patio lights kind of across the deck and just kind of zigzag them back and forth. I did get some poles to kind of attach to my deck, so I'm just gonna kind of see how it goes. So you can see I stuck with kind of a black and white palette. I just think it's classic, and you can always interject color with different pillows and throws and things like that. Our flowers are looking really pretty. I can't wait till they start kind of filling in and spilling over the edges of the pot. We have our nice sitting area, another flower pot, and then this is our electrical access for our new string lights, which last night we got to test them out, and it is so beautiful out here. Having it lit up just makes a huge difference. Tonight we're lighting our first fire. We already had a little one earlier, and I think we'll do another little fire to kind of keep seasoning the chimenea. The table turned out so pretty. I actually really love how it looks rustic with the old stain and then the new fresh stain kind of overlapping. And this succulent container, I just love it. I love looking at it. I love how low maintenance it'll be for the entire summer season. And I just think it's really pretty. Now, the deck isn't quite finished. There are a few finishing touches that I'll be incorporating in the next couple weeks. Maybe a few little side tables, somewhere to kind of put your drink. I also want to put right here a little cocktail kitchen garden. I'm thinking of getting like a black cart that has a little level down here that I could use some terracotta pots, and then herbs, and then like some trailing cherry tomatoes on the sides. Bring some nice color, nice aroma right here. I really love how the colors kind of tie together. The staining from the table with the color of the chimenea, and then of course, like I said, I'm going to have some terracotta pots over here in my kitchen garden. I love how that ties together. And the same thing with this nice ceramic container. I feel like it kind of ties in with the gray kind of faux stone look of my containers. So everything just came together very nicely. Again, nothing earth-shattering, but definitely a nice way to freshen up a space that we love so much. All we have left to do right now is cook up some burgers and enjoy our first meal of the season out here on the back deck. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.